50 AI tools, tested, graded, judged without mercy, and 46 didn't make the cut. That's not a typo. 46 tools built on mountains of venture capital, polished landing pages, and demo videos that look like they were produced by a Hollywood studio, failed to do the one thing they promised: be actually useful. I know what you're thinking. Surely some were close. No, some weren't even in the right zip code. I'm going to walk you through exactly how they failed in 4 specific, painful, familiar ways before I tell you the 4 tools that genuinely earned their place. We're naming the sins before we hand out the halos. Failure mode number 1. The output that makes you question everything. You sign up, you paste in your task, you hit generate. And what comes back is fine. Technically readable, grammatically passable, completely useless. It's the written equivalent of elevator filler music. No insight, no edge, no reason to exist. Incredible in demos, exciting for 5 minutes, then you'd never open them again. Bad output isn't always loud. It doesn't crash. It doesn't throw an error. It quietly hands you something mediocre and lets you discover the disappointment on your own time. These tools have mastered the art of sounding confident while saying nothing. I tested writing tools that produced copy so generic it could have been written by a bored intern who'd never met a human. I tested image tools where the demo showed cinematic visuals, and what I got looked like a fever dream, painted by a robot who learned art from a corrupted JPEG. One major video tool arrived after repeated delays promising big improvements. Queue times exceeded 10 minutes. Animated characters behaved erratically and videos froze awkwardly. Bad output dressed up in good marketing. That's failure mode 1. But at least bad output is honest in its own awful way. What's coming next is sneakier. Failure mode number 2. The UX that makes you feel like you're being punished. You've signed up. You've onboarded. You've clicked through 17 tooltips. Now you're trying to do the actual thing, and the interface is fighting you at every step. Buttons that don't do what they look like they do. Menus buried 3 layers deep. A workflow that requires you to understand the tool's internal logic before it'll cooperate with yours. If a tool doesn't save time or multiply output, it's not a productivity tool, it's a distraction. I sat with tools that took longer to navigate than the task they were supposed to automate. The irony of spending 45 minutes learning a productivity tool that was supposed to save you 45 minutes. That irony is real, and it is everywhere in this space. The worst offenders had a great engineering team and a non-existent design team. The model worked. The interface was a labyrinth. You'd get a genuinely impressive output if you could figure out how to ask for it, but the path to asking was so painful that most people quit before they got there. That's not a feature. That's an unfinished product being sold as if it's done. Here's a question I genuinely want your answer to, because I've had this debate more than once. Which bothers you more? A tool with terrible outputs but a clean interface? Or a powerful tool buried inside an interface that makes you want to throw your laptop? Comment your answer below, because it actually changes which tools are worth your money. Now, the failure mode that made me genuinely angry. Failure mode number 3. The paywall that appears the moment things get interesting. There's actually free, no time limit, does something useful. There's free trial, 7 or 14 days before the trapdoor drops. And there's free tier, technically free but throttled so aggressively you're being nudged toward paying within your first serious work session. This is the most common trick in the AI tool playbook. The demo is free. The onboarding is free. The first output, the one designed to wow you, is free. The moment you try to do anything real, the paywall drops. Some tools market themselves as free but produce unusable quality on the free tier. Slap watermarks on everything, or require a credit card to start free. That's not free. That's a trap. I hit paywalls mid-project, mid-sentence. One tool let me generate the first half of a document beautifully, then locked the export behind a paid tier. The whole thing was sitting there, finished, hostage, until I handed over my card details. Paid tools can be worth it, For daily professional use, $20 a month on ChatGPT Plus or Claude Pro recovers its cost quickly if it saves you even 2 or 3 hours a month. That's a fair deal. What's not fair is hiding the real price behind a free label and a curated demo. Many of these startups were just wrappers around existing APIs with no real moat, just a landing page and a countdown to your first billing cycle. Which brings us to the darkest failure mode. Number 4. The tool that lied to your face in its own demo. This is rarer, but when you catch it, it's jarring. You watch a demo video. The tool does something extraordinary. You sign up. You try to replicate it. It doesn't work. You go back to the demo, slow it down, and realize it was staged. The output was preloaded. The live generation was a recording. The thing you signed up for doesn't exist in the product you downloaded. You can forgive a clunky interface. You can forgive an honest paywall. You can forgive mediocre outputs if the price is right. But you cannot forgive being lied to in the sales material. That's not a product problem. That's an integrity problem, so. 46 tools, 4 failure modes, bad outputs, terrible UX, predatory paywalls, dishonest demos. Now, the part you've been waiting for, the 4 tools that made it through. These aren't perfect tools. Perfection isn't the standard. The standard is, did they do what they said without lying, without hiding the important stuff behind a paywall, and without making me want to flip a table? These 4 passed. The first is ChatGPT. Yes, it's the obvious one. No, that doesn't make it wrong. In 2026, it's the strongest tool for autonomous task execution. Via agent mode, it executes tasks on the web, in forms, and in connected apps. It has the most refined interface: voice mode, image generation, file uploads, custom GPTs, and a genuinely good mobile app. The free tier is real, the paid tier is worth it. It does what it says consistently without theatrics. The second is Claude. Where ChatGPT is the Swiss Army knife, Claude is the scalpel. Precise, thoughtful, and remarkably good at handling complex, nuanced tasks without losing the thread. In 2026, it's the strongest tool for writing, coding, and document analysis. It weighs trade-offs in a way that feels less like autocomplete and more like genuine reasoning. If your work involves long-form thinking, Claude is the one. The third is Perplexity. If you haven't used this one, pay attention. It's the one most people sleep on. For factual questions about recent events, research topics, or anything where you need to verify an answer, Perplexity is consistently more reliable than asking ChatGPT or Claude from memory. It cites sources in real time. In a world full of AI tools that hallucinate confidently, a tool that shows its work is worth its weight in gold. It passed because it never tried to be more than it is, and what it is genuinely excellent. The fourth is NotebookLM, the genuine surprise of this whole experiment. Completely free, no trial, no paywall for core features, and it does something general chatbots don't do well. It becomes an expert on your specific documents. Upload your own sources, PDFs, documents, web links, YouTube videos, and NotebookLM creates a grounded AI that works only with what you give it. It won't hallucinate facts from the internet because it never reaches for them. That constraint, which sounds like a limitation, is actually its superpower. In a space full of tools making things up with confidence, NotebookLM stays in its lane and executes perfectly. 4 tools out of 50, an 8% survival rate. And honestly, that tracks. The tools that are winning solve a specific, well-understood problem for a specific group of people, not the ones promising to change everything. The AI tool market is enormous, loud, and relentlessly optimistic about itself. But optimism doesn't ship good products. Discipline does. Honesty does. Actually finishing the thing before you demo it does. Until more teams figure that out, the gap between hype and reality is going to keep producing exactly this: 46 disappointments for every 4 tools worth keeping. If this saved you time, money, or the specific frustration that comes from watching a demo that lied to you, drop a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and share this with whoever in your life is drowning in AI subscriptions they don't actually use. They'll thank you for it.